Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Simple Obsidian Setup. I'll be wondering why I'm making another video, and basically, I actually reworked the whole script, but I wrote it back all over again. There's multiple reasons for that. One of them is that the script stopped working as expected. It wasn't doing its job correctly, and I felt it was too long. So what I ended up doing is switch to the in-monitor view, just rewriting the whole thing. And if you haven't seen original video about the Obsidian Setup, basically it's a script or a bunch of scripts and functions that allow you to write commands in a file and then read those commands using templator to do something with these commands. It could be creating a note, it could be filling data within the current file, prompting the user for information, adding lists, or picking from some options, one or multiple, so on and so forth. Basically, I made this for myself to eat a little bit of the repetitive work that I was doing for making documents and linking them together. But here's a test of it, a very quick test run. I'm gonna ask you to choose a document and choose a document type. I'm gonna use a project, gonna make it into a program, and it's gonna ask you for a title. We're gonna use simple project as a title. Gonna ask us for a few more information that then will later on be used in filling the metadata. So I can just give a few examples. Then it will ask you for optional templates if you have any. Right, and then it will make the project done. Once you're done with all the prompts, it will make the project for you or the document with all the templates that you have chosen, and all these templates will be filled with the with the information that you filled in, along with whatever information that already exists within that template. So it will not override the metadata information for the template. It will also allow you to create subnodes. It will allow you to sort attachment files. It will allow you to make sub-documents, which is basically making a document, a specific document type, not necessarily the same one that you're doing right now, but you will make a new document for the current one. It will be numbered and everything within a different category, and will allow you to update the target, which basically is based on how much you move these stuff within the menus and how many menus do you have, for example. Then you go back to it, click update the target, and it will update the target over here. So just to show example, I'm gonna make a subnode, and we'll make a subnode. You see what happened immediately is that in the links, the local graph immediately made a document and then linked it back to this original document. You can go to the subnode. All the necessary metadata is already filled by itself. You don't have to do it yourself. And numbering is done as well. All that is just, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So we can also make a subdocument. And let's say I want to make a video about this project, which what I used to do in the simple web app. And you can see it's linked automatically. And you can just go to the file and you'll find it over here. Everything, all the data is already filled in here, except for the tags. I think the tags is not carried out, and the aliases, since this might be a different project. And by the way, all the prompts and all the data, even how what keys do you use for the data, is assigned by you, the user. So, and this is how this command look like in this file here. It would have like basically a command block, which basically anything encased in this, and the commands is anything that looks like that one. A keyword with the semicolon, equal and greater than sign. You can expand on that and read multiple files. So this is not applicable in every example, but you can multiple files, and you can ask the user to fill in specific data from that file. So even in the subnode, for example, the subnodes or the subdocument are basically the commands folder here, because these are the ones that have to do with the buttons. It will just ask you for information. It can get information from the current file, and every information that it gets and saves will then look for any similar expressions that look like the keys for those information and fill it in. If you're not a programmer, this will not make much sense to you, but basically it allows you to take metadata from the current file that you're in and basically write it into the next file, which is basically the subnode or the subdocument. That's how it works. And again, you can ask for as much prompts or as little prompts as you need. Really, the main reason I created this is because I was doing that very repetitively. And I can show you an example that when I was in university, I was taking a few subjects. The file of that subject was getting very large that eventually I had to stop and break that file into multiple smaller files. So I would go then to the subnodes and just put the small topics with its with the much more needed explanation or much more in-depth explanation in there, and I will link it back to the parent node. Now, the way I linked it to the parent node back then was way worse. This is not even anywhere close to where what the current file actually looked like. This is how it was, and this is the problem that it was solving. But the problem that I was dealing with is that some of my projects would have attachments or media files in them, and I would not know which one it is in my gallery. So I made also the script in a way so that it would basically move these files and put them in a media file. It wasn't numbering them then, but now it does actually add numbers for each media file. It just lowers the clutter in one file and makes things much easier to understand, easier to access, from that kind of standpoint. Yeah, that's like, that could be someone else's problem, and I decided I'll make a script, and eventually I decided to make it into something that is basically a bunch of commands that the end user can just make themselves and understand relatively easily, simply. And that's how this project became. So it solves a very specific problem. It does a very specific type of, task, but I'm pretty sure there's use for it. However, the idea of reworking the project also, other than fixing the bad code, was basically also, making the code shorter. Yeah, that did not work out very well. Basically, what ended up happening at the end is the code got... So this is the old one. Very unreadable, by the way. I cannot read it very well. The code eventually ended up being about 2 times as big as this. Go here. So this is much easier to read. There's a lot more comments. I'm using actually a JS doc as my notation for explaining what the functions do. However, it's like double the length, or probably even more than double. Yeah, there's a bit of a trade-off. However, this is much easier to read, much easier to understand. I wouldn't say free of bugs, but has way less bugs. This might stay this way from now on. Now, in my current implementation, it's kind of in maintenance mode. So basically, I'm not going to be adding any features anytime soon, but I'll be like fixing problems, making sure that there's the least amount of bugs that I have to deal with, and the appropriate amount of logging, even though I'm probably going excessive on the logs actually. But that's just for the sake of clarity with the problems within the script. And that's what's been keeping me busy actually. This stopped working and I could not make documents for the videos that I was making, because that's what I actually do. And I got sick of it, decided I'll make it again. But yeah, also as a way to get myself back to writing, because I stopped for a long, and I think it's time to go back. Now I'm done with the universities. I don't think this file will get any bigger, but I will still be able to use it effectively with my projects and other things. I'm planning to learn new things in the future. Mathematics is one of them. C, the programming language, for philosophy and religion related stuff. And that's about it. This is the Simple Obsidian setup. I hope to see you in the next time, and I'll probably make another video that is much longer, explaining each command in the new Obsidian setup and what it does and how it works. I will also link to the GitHub of this script, the whole setup. Just download the whole setup and open the directory with Obsidian, and it should do the work for you from that point on. Didn't do much. It will be updated here and there, again, to eliminate bugs and remove junk code. So yeah, that's all that's gonna happen. That's all what you can expect for this project from now on. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Good evening.